Hello, everyone. This is the most magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm back at it with some more rating with me. And not only am I going to be rating with my new team, which I've been playing around with for more than a week, but this is the first time you guys are going to see this new team. Not only that, but I'm also going to finally be getting into my spoiler review of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1, Episode 5. So, yeah, before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. I'm doing good, and I'm staying safe for the most part. And you know what? I'm not even going to attempt to say the name of the episode. The name of the episode will be in the thumbnail, like always. And as you can see, I've already done some rating. I did some yesterday. And yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump into the rating with me, shall we? I'm probably not going to do too many raids because I do have a lot to go over in the 5th episode, and I just got to say, wow, what an episode. That's all I'll say. It might be my favorite episode of the season, but I don't know. We'll see if the finale can top it, which I'm pretty confident that, honestly, there's not gonna really be a bad episode of the Daryl Dixon spinoff. Maybe, potentially, the 2nd episode might be the worst episode, but even by those standards, it's still a pretty decent episode. It just feels sort of disconnected as to what's going on now. I'm really enjoying that Daryl Dixon spinoff, so yeah, I'm not really gonna try to talk about it too much until we get to the spoiler section of the video. Hopefully by this weekend I can finally get to the last part of Batman Arkham Asylum, and then once we get past the finale, which that will be the next part for sure, that's when I'll have a question and I'll make it a poll and I'll see what you guys want me to do, but we'll definitely cross that bridge when we get there. Which I'm hoping we can, which I'm hoping I can get the finale out, sometime this weekend. We'll see. Perfect. There we go. I have absolutely been loving Forsaken Michonne. I'm very interested to see who the next Lone Wolves character will be. We know the list of them, but we don't know exactly who's going to be next. It could be Wanderer, it could be Trader, it could be Morgan, or it could be Eva. I think that's it. Let's see. Wanderer, Trader, Morgan, Eva. I believe so. I believe that's who's left. So we'll see who's going to be next exactly. So yeah, I had mentioned this. I am going to miss using the Jackie lead because she does have the burn and bleed resist. So everybody's got like 17,000 bleed. So we have to wrap this up very quickly. You know what I mean? Let's see if we can get it done in one turn. But sometimes that absolute defense is a pain in the ass. Yeah, okay. We couldn't get it done. Hopefully by this turn we can get it done. Okay, there we go. Got it done just like that. You know what? I don't usually go after Clem leads, and this is going to be a great example as to why. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, didn't hardly do any damage whatsoever. Great. But at least he'll be crosshairs. Oh, no, he's got the 40% halo, though. Knowing my luck, he'll be picked up immediately. That's how that'll go. But I'm just curious as to see if this team will work. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's my luck. Even though we crosshaired Omid, he got right back up. Probably for everybody else, he would stay down. Yeah, I just wanted to attempt it. I'm at a loss for words. I just wanted to attempt it just to see if I could do it. Yeah, I mean, Michonne is good, but against this team, she ain't doing shit. Not nothing. Like, this is a loss. I just wanted to see if I could do it, and it clearly isn't doing anything. So let's continue. Let's do another, I don't know, another couple. I could have maybe attempted that one. Great. Like I said, I love Michonne. Forsaken Michonne, that damage is absolutely insane. Even though I wasn't doing anything against that defensive Clem team, you know, she still does great damage, but if obviously that team I was facing was modded correctly, they had the right type of weapons, all that stuff. So that's going to be a really hard team to take down for anybody. We'll do one more. I think we'll do one more. And then I'll get to my spoiler review. Wondering how I can approach this. Because I'm already not loving my odds because I've been taunted. But now we can go. See, I should have done that first. Yeah, I messed up. Because Vance is going to come right back. That 50% Halo might as well be 100% Halo. Alright. The timer showed up, so I'm going to auto it. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah. I mean, should I hit flee now? Because, I mean, this is a loss either way. Alright, I'm gonna save myself... Yeah, okay. I'm gonna save myself the embarrassment for 13 seconds from now and just go ahead and lose early. Yeah, so that's probably the team that I'm going to be using, although I might switch back from that team back to the Jackie-led team from time to time. So yeah, I really do love that team. I just got to level it up a little bit more. I'm just waiting for another level up to come around. That way I can collect those broomsticks, because I mean, I could buy broomsticks, but I'm not buying any broomsticks. I'll just collect them free to play, you know, however I can do on that event, because I do think I'm done spending money on this game, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not really worth it to spend money on this game anymore. Nah, not really, unless they were to reverse certain changes, but since they're not willing to do that, it's definitely not worth spending the money, in my opinion. But, yeah, so that's my team that I'm going to be using probably from now on. I might switch back and forth between the other team that I was using. But, what are your thoughts on that team? Do you have Forsaken Michonne and Philip Blake? And if you do, how are you enjoying them? I'm quite enjoying them, especially the reflect damage counter, for 3 turns. That's really great. I'm really enjoying it, and now I'm gonna get ready to get into my spoiler review for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1, Episode 5. I believe the episode title is Dex Armors or do something. You know what? The correct title of the episode will be in the thumbnail, like always. But let's get into it. So, yeah, if you don't want to know absolutely anything, this is the time to go ahead and click off the video. I thank you for your time, and I will catch you next time. So, in 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's get into it. And I have 5 sections for 5 different characters. Well, 4 of those sections are for 4 different characters. 2 of the sections are for Daryl, and there's a reason for that, because for one section I have wrote down here some stuff involving Daryl in the present time of the episode, and then the second section goes to Daryl in the past. And yes, we finally do get some answers as to how he got to France on that boat turned upside down. So that's all going to be covered here. Plus we got Isabel, Quinn, and even Jeanette and Stefan. But let's start with Daryl in the present. So Daryl, Laurent, and the guy that brought the boat to them in the last episode, Aslan, they're traveling down this river, and Aslan is wanting to know how Daryl got so far away from home. So this is when he starts to remember the past as to exactly his road to getting to France. So we go to the past, and Daryl has ran out of gas on his bike, and this guy is driving up behind him in this truck, and he asks him, "Where are you headed?" And he says to him that I'm headed home, and he says, "You're going home on a bike with no fuel?" So he gives Daryl a ride to where his hideout is, and you got all of these people, you got all of these hunter type of people, and even the doctor that works for Jeanette is there as well, and that's going to make sense as to what's going on. And the guy tells Daryl to just have a seat, that we'll get you sorted. And the guy that picked him up has a radio, and Daryl notices that. So he comes back, the guy comes back, and he tells everybody to listen up, that pretty much you guys have got to capture, you have to capture walkers in order for quarts of ethanol. Yeah, quarts of ethanol. And no, not quarts, but I think pints of ethanol for, gasoline. And this one guy who is he ends up being an asshole later on, but he says, "Hold on, we were told that we would be getting quarts." And the French scientist that works for Jeanette, he says, "You only get quarts for fresh ones," and obviously they have to go out and capture walkers. So that's what's going on here. So they all go out into the woods and capture walkers, and of course Daryl, he captures the most walkers, so they give him a big gas can and fill him right up. So there you go. He ends up besting all of them that are looking for gasoline and, you know, supplies and whatnot. And then we'll jump back to the present. So when Daryl, Laurent, and Aslan stop for the night on a nearby area in the woods where they tie up the boat, you know, Laurent says to Daryl that, you didn't get to know, you got to know my friends, but I didn't get to know your friends. And because Daryl mentions that he has friends back home, and this is when he mentions Judith, RJ, Carol, Connie, and Ezekiel, I believe. And, you know, that's when Laurent says they sound like nice people. And Daryl says, how do you know that? Which, I mean, they are, but, like, he's just like, you know, you don't know them, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So he says, how do you know that? And then they go and lay down for the night, and Aslan has this pocket watch, which is pretty reminiscent to the pocket watch that Herschel had, who he gave to Glenn. So it's kind of a callback to that. I think it's like a subtle wink wink, a subtle Easter egg for the main series, which I found kind of interesting. It's definitely a very similar type of pocket watch for sure. And so Aslan and Daryl talk, and he says to Daryl, you know, he says that our leader, I forget what he said his name was, but Aslan said that our leader will find you a boat so you can go home, pretty much. And let's see, should we jump back to the past right quick? Yes, let's go ahead and jump back to the past real quick. So we're jumping back to the past. Daryl is like putting all of his stuff on his bike, and the guy that said was arguing about, hey, we need to get more ethanol than y'all said y'all was going to give us. I believe they said his name was Juno, I believe. It doesn't matter. Juno, he ends up getting killed later in the episode anyway. But anyway, there's this guy that has a picture of his girlfriend, and he mentions that her father has her like tightly on lock and key, pretty much, from so that way she isn't able to escape. And so the guy, he wants to join Juno and his group, and Juno tells him, you know what, chop some firewood and let us sleep and I'll think about it. So he goes to chop some firewood, and Daryl sees the young guy struggling to chop the firewood, so he at least helps him out. He at least helps him out and shows him how to chop the firewood like he's supposed to. And then, you know, as he's doing that, he gets curious about the radio, so he leaves him alone and just like tells him how to do it. So he goes to the guy that picked him up with the radio, and so Daryl, he gets in contact back in America, and they keep trying to get a hold of somebody, and at first the connection isn't really going through. Then as Daryl is about to give up, Carol actually gets on the radio, and Daryl and Carol get to talking, and she says everything's good here, everything's really quiet, that she's just, you know, it's taken getting some used to the quiet. And he asks, are you sure you're okay? And she pretty much says, you never have to worry about me, Daryl. And that's when, right before they get ready to end the conversation, the transmission conveniently goes out, and she says, hey, you know, she says someone came back, but we don't hear who she says came back. All we know is someone came back. Who is that someone? Is it Rick and Michonne? Maybe, maybe not. Could she be talking about somebody else? We don't know, because Daryl says, who came back? Who came back? And then that's when the call ends. So they dropped a little hint at someone came back. We don't know exactly who that could be. Maybe most of us are thinking Rick and Michonne, but I have maybe a sneaking suspicion that maybe the possibility she was talking about maybe Dwight. I don't know. We'll have to find out, but that's definitely very interesting. She mentioned that someone came back. We don't know exactly who. Most people, I think, are going to think Rick and Michonne, and who knows? I could be wrong, and maybe she is talking about Rick and Michonne. They came back, but a part of me thinks that maybe she's talking about Dwight or Morgan. I don't know. We'll definitely have to wait and see. That's more of a long wait and see who she's exactly talking about, because she said it, but on Daryl's end, it just conveniently breaks up as she says who it was that came back. So, yeah, that's an interesting little nugget that was dropped. So, someone came back, we just don't know who. So, okay, let's go back to the present, because we'll get back to the past. Okay, so it's nighttime, and Daryl hears something, and he tells Laurent to wait in the tent. And there was a walker that was killed, but, well, Aslan, he doesn't get so lucky, because he ends up slipping on something, and he ends up getting stabbed in the back by a telephone pole. Apparently there must have been a part of a metal stick or a metal blade on this telephone pole, and he just got unlucky, and, well, he's bleeding out. Plus, I think a walker might have bit him as well, because he's got blood, not only, him bleeding out from his mouth, but he's also got blood on him. So I think the walker probably perhaps bit him as he took care of the walker. So yeah, Aslan dies, which is kind of unfortunate, because we didn't really get to know a whole lot about this character, other than he mentions briefly that his father worked for a telephone company. So that's kind of the only thing we get to know about him, and it seemed like he was a pretty decent character. So I guess if they had to kill someone off, I guess it would rather Aslan to get killed than, like, Laurent. So, it seemed like he was a decent person. He came from the nest, so they bury him, and, and they get ready to leave, Daryl and Laurent, that is, the next morning, to go to the boat. But when Daryl goes to untie the boat, someone has let the boat go. Someone actually cut the rope, and, well, that someone was Laurent. Laurent actually cut the boat and let it went free. And, oh man, this part, usually Daryl, he's usually so calm and so cool, so calm and collective, like 95% of the time, but this is the rare 5% where he just goes off. He goes off, and he is seriously pissed off, and he's like, why the F did you do that? What have you done? You're worthless. I should have left your ass where you was. He just goes off. And the reason that Laurent did it, he shouldn't have done it, but the reason he did it is after you get me to the nest, you're gonna go, and I'm gonna be all alone, and I don't want to be left alone. And after Daryl hears that, even though he was pissed off at him and told him that he was worthless, telling him, you think you're so damn smart, and all this other stuff, after he tells him that, Daryl does feel bad for yelling at him, and just like he gives him a hug and tells him that it's all right, just not to worry about it. He's like, I shouldn't have said all that, but yeah, that was like one of the times where Daryl is yelling. Like oh my goodness, he's usually one of the more calm and collective characters, but that's that rare time where he goes the F off. And, I mean, Laurent kind of deserved to be yelled at a little bit because that was their only way of getting to the nest where he was supposed to take Laurent. But Daryl, he feels bad about it, and he apologizes to him, and he tells him, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have yelled at you. Even though he deserved to, to be yelled at, or, a little bit at least. Right? So, let's go to Isabel. We haven't went to Isabel yet. So, Isabel, she wakes up in this mansion, and it's nowhere near the nightclub. I don't know where the hell this mansion is, but she's got this big, beautiful bedroom that's in this mansion, and she opens the doors to this older woman that kind of looks like Carell DeVille a little bit. What I mean by that is, her hairstyle isn't like crazy or nothing, but her hairstyle is pretty normal, but like most of her hair is black, and she's got like a little bit of gray or a little bit of white, and that's why I say she looks like Cruella DeVille a little bit in that sense. But other than that, she doesn't have like any Dalmatian rugs or nothing like that. She doesn't have any Dalmatians, but I just wanted to make that comment. And she Isabel asked the woman, what time is it, and she says 11 o'clock in the morning, and she says that Mr. Quinn will be by soon, and she just shuts the door and just goes back into her bedroom. And so she's looking around her room, Isabel that is, and she's got like a jewelry box and stuff that, Quinn obviously had this stuff prepared for her. So she's looking around to see if she can find herself some sort of weapon, and there's a mirror with these, it's a part of the frame of the mirror. She decides to tear a part of the frame off the mirror, and she sharpens one edge of the frame, so she has herself a little makeshift weapon. So there you go. So, let's see, who should I jump to next? Should I keep going with Isabel? Let me see. Okay, you know what? Let's continue on with Isabel, Quinn. Okay, so Quinn eventually, he finally gets there and tells Isabel that, look, I can change, I keep my promises, and he actually does. To his credit, Quinn informs Isabel that I talked to these guys, and they informed me that Laurent is out of the city, so I'll give Quinn that. He did keep his promise to Isabel to make sure Laurent got out of the city, and, he's not a total piece of shit, but, he kind of is a little scummy, no doubt, but he's at least a little, I don't know if honorable is the right word, but he at least kept his promise as, to Isabel as far as, like, making sure Laurent got out of the city, so I'll definitely give him that. So, he leaves, but then I don't think he leaves the mansion, he just leaves the room, because she agrees to have dinner with Quinn that same evening. So they, that woman, the Carell DeVille looking woman, she doesn't look like her, just like kind of her hair a little bit, but anyway, I can't remember what her name was, but the older woman that lives in the mansion, cooks her and Quinn dinner, Isabel and Quinn dinner, and Quinn and Isabel have dinner in her room, and that's when Anna, the French singer, comes to the mansion and she wants to talk to Quinn, but the older woman lets her know that Quinn is going to be busy all evening. And then, like, Anna, she kind of realizes what's happening, so she gets jealous. She gets jealous, and we'll definitely get to that. So Isabel and Quinn are having dinner, and he says that, I can change for you. I want you to be with me. All this crap, and she, let's see, Isabel, that is, she's thinking about killing Quinn because she's still got that makeshift weapon in her pocket. And they go to the bed, and he's wanting Isabel to make out with him, and she's kind of kissing him a little bit, and then, like, she kind of backs up a little bit, and she pulls the weapon out, and she's complimenting on whether to use the weapon on Quinn, but she gets cold feet about it and just puts the weapon back in her pocket, and she tells Quinn that I'm not ready, and he's like, okay, yeah, I get it, you're not ready, I'll give you time, and he leaves, and that's when Anna is sitting out there in the main hall waiting for him, and she gets jealous, and she raises her, like, wine glass that she was drinking wine out of, and just drops it, and it breaks, and she leaves. So she gets jealous, and I mean, that doesn't seem important now, but that'll be important later on. So yeah, let me see, should we... Okay, let's jump back to Daryl a little bit. Let's see. Okay, so let's jump to Daryl in the past. So the same kid that he was teaching how to chop the firewood properly, it's the next morning from that contact with Carol on the radio. Well, Juno and his men, they capture some walkers, but that young guy, he ended up dying, and it's implied that Juno and his men killed him, and for what reason, I don't know. Just maybe because they're assholes, I guess, but because Daryl is like, what the hell happened to him, and they say that they just found him like that, and Daryl notices that there's rope marks on his neck, or rope burns, so it's implied that they killed him for, I don't know, for whatever reason that isn't really clear. So Daryl, he gets pissed off, and he punches the Juno guy, the guy named Juno, so he gets into a fight, and that's when they decide to capture Daryl and that Juno guy, and yeah, so Daryl and that guy Juno and a couple of other people, they end up going on the ship that was at the end of the first episode, and let's just say Daryl wrecks shit. Absolutely. Once he gets on the ship and he gets captured, and there's these two containers, and Jeanette's men, they just take prisoners and they open up the roof to one of the cages, and they just drop people in there to be fed to walkers, and that's what's going to happen to Juno and Daryl and the others that are with them in their own cage. And they get Daryl. Well, Daryl comes up with a plan to get free, essentially. I think Juno punches Daryl because Daryl's laying down and he's coughing up blood, but that's probably where he busted his lip or whatever, and Juno's like, hey, he's coughing up blood, get me out of here, to get their attention. And Daryl, of course, they get Daryl, and they're about to drop him down into the walkers that's when Daryl just messes them up and just takes care of business. He kills them 3 guards, no problem. He even drops one of the guards down into the cage with the walkers. I wish he would have dropped at least 2 of them. Why not? You know, I feel like they deserve it. But anyway, he takes care of them 3. He ends up freeing the guy, Juno, and he ends up opening up some of the cages, and some of the cages have those walkers that they've been experimenting on, and all that chaos is happening while Daryl and Juno are trying to get free. And well, there's a variant walker, a runner, that ends up getting to where Daryl and Juno are, and well, that guy Juno, he doesn't get so lucky. The walker pushes Juno up against this big red button and ends up dropping this little boat that they were going to use to get free. And it's probably the very same boat that he wakes up to at the very beginning, I would imagine. And, well, the guy doesn't get so lucky. The walker kills Juno, but he doesn't bite him first. He rips him open first, then bites the guy, which is like, holy shit, that's insane. Like, he's like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, if you see the scene, he goes for the gut, for the stomach first, and just rips, and then bites his neck, which, that's not something that they usually... Is that something that normal walkers do first? I don't know. But he's got the strength enough to rip his stomach open with ease, even before biting him, which, you know, that makes that part even more insane. And then the walker, after he gets done with Juno, he sees Daryl and pretty much like growls at Daryl, and he's running at Daryl, and Daryl hits him with the fire extinguisher that's in the area. And as the boat is blowing up, Daryl jumps off, and that's the whole past segment with Daryl. So I imagine that's how he ended up on top of the boat. And yeah, he absolutely wrecked pretty much everything on that ship. I mean, there you go. So that's a clear answer, a little bit more clear picture of how he got to France. So... let's see, shall we get back to Isabel? Yeah, let's get back to Isabel. So, Isabel is sitting at this, she's sitting in front of these mirrors in her room, and she's got that weapon that she sharpened, and she's thinking about, you know, cutting into her wrist, and, like, she comes pretty close to doing that, honestly. Then she gets interrupted by the old lady bringing her breakfast, and she tells her, look, I'm not hungry, you know, tell your friend I said thank you, you know. And then a little bit later on, Quinn comes back into her room, and he tells Isabel that Jeanette is having a party, and he gets her this beautiful, shiny, silver necklace. It's got all these, you know, like, not like pearl necklace, but like these silver, you know, really shiny necklace. And she ends up agreeing to go with Quinn to Jeanette's party. So she gets all dressed up, these earrings, the necklace, and... you know, what she's wearing, trust me, it ain't nothing like how, you know, she was wearing, like, pretty basic clothes before that. She's, like, you know, she's all now dolled up, essentially. You know, which, I mean, the actress, she was beautiful from beginning to then anyway, so she didn't really need to doll up. She was already pretty, so she's dolled up, and she's at the party, and she notices that Falou... the other nun, Sylvie, and then the guy that Sylvie's fallen for, they're all there at the party, but I don't know, it's unclear whether or not they've been captured. I mean, their hands aren't exactly tied up, but they're there, which is pretty interesting, and we'll definitely get back to the party. So let's go back to Daryl. Daryl and Laurent, they end up walking in the woods, and you know, Daryl is pretty much telling them that, we'll get you there. And then they hear this truck coming, and it's Jeanette's men, so they end up running and hiding in the woods. And some of Laurent's stuff falls out of his backpack, and he's like, I need to get my stuff, and Daryl says, no, just leave it. And he says, my bag must have been opened, and Daryl says, you know what, don't worry about it, it's fine, just don't worry about it. And that's when they stop and pick up they see that there's this book and the Rubik's Cube that he had are on the ground, and that's when they stop, and Daryl pretty much tells Laurent, look, you need to go to the nest, you need to go ahead and go there by yourself. And Laurent says, no, I don't want to go by myself. And he says, like, look, you said you were gonna listen to me no matter what I said, right? And he says, yeah. He says, yeah. And he's like, go ahead, take my knife, go ahead. Because earlier when Daryl was yelling at Laurent, he took Laurent's knife and threw it in the water. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, so he gives Laurent his knife and tells him to go, and he ends up going. He does, but then Daryl, he ends up getting caught, and Jeanette's men, they ask him, where's the boy at? And he's like, what boy? Acting all dumb. So they punch him, and they say, you got one more chance to tell us where the boy is, or we're gonna start cutting your eyes out. And Daryl pretty much tells them to go F themselves. So he's like, alright, go ahead, start taking his left eye out. And that's when Laurent pops out and says, no, don't hurt Daryl. So yeah, Daryl and Laurent end up getting captured. So they end up getting captured by Jeanette and her men. So we're going to go back to Quinn and Isabel. Quinn introduces Isabel to Jeanette, and that's when they go to this room. Jeanette leads Isabel and Quinn to this room, and when they get to this room, funny enough, Anna just happens to be there, and Quinn looks like what the hell are you looking like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, having no idea that Anna betrays Quinn. And yeah, he ends up getting locked up by Jeanette because she says, I thought you and me had a deal. I thought you and me had an agreement. So Anna done snitched on Quinn and told Jeanette that, yeah, he had Laurent the whole time. I'm imagining that's what he's getting locked up for. So, you know what? Honestly, if Quinn ends up getting out and ends up clapping Anna, killing her, honestly, I couldn't blame him one bit. Not really. Like, I mean, just ditch Anna to the side. Isabel's way prettier than her anyway, but I mean, if I was Isabel, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with Quinn either. But yeah, honestly, if Quinn ends up being the one to do Anna in, I wouldn't blame him one bit. Not really. I mean, not really. She just got jealous of Annabelle. I mean, not Annabelle. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking of the doll. Anna got jealous of Isabel, and she just decided to run her mouth. That's all that was about, I imagine. Unless maybe she was a mole working for Jeanette the whole time. I have no idea. But so yeah, he ends up getting locked up with Daryl. Daryl's also in that prison cell where they go. And, Daryl tells Isabel, look, I'm sorry. He says sorry real quick that, he's pretty much saying, I'm sorry I couldn't get Laurent to the nest. So Jeanette takes Isabel with her to her office, And that's where Laurent is. He's perfectly safe and sound. So Jeanette and Isabel have a conversation, and I have part of it written down here. So Jeanette says to Isabel, "We've been getting to know each other. I see why people fall for it." And Isabel says, "For what? A special child born from the curse, life from death, Mother Mary, Phoenix from the ashes. It hits all the notes, doesn't it?" And then she wants to know, "What do you want?" And Jeanette says, "For him to make an appearance, all he has to do is smile." And then Isabel says, "What are you after?" So Jeanette pretty much wants, she pretty much wants Laurent to lie to everybody, because Jeanette says that some people believe that she isn't an ally to the Union of Hope, and that's the people of the Nest, I think, and all of France, all of the people that is left alive in France. So she pretty much wants, she says that some people don't believe that she and her people are an ally, and she wants Laurent to lie to everybody and say that she is an ally, even though Laurent can see right through her. And she's like, "Little boy, you're making me angry. Don't make me angry. You have no choice. You have to do this." So, there you go. So now, let's see here. Okay, let's get to Jeanette and Stefan. Stefan makes an appearance in this episode, but it's kind of brief. So Jeanette has a speech, and I have part of it wrote down here. Not much of it, because it's a rather long speech, and I just didn't have time, or I didn't feel like writing it all down. This is Jeanette's speech. She gets ready to go up on stage, this high platform, and she says, "Welcome, brave friends. Brave because you have ventured out from Saint Denis to the Revanjanchi." I don't know if I'm saying that last name right, but whatever. So her speech, it's pretty simple. It comes down to, we will be free. We will be reborn, the Sixth Republic, and we will make our enemies pay in blood. She doesn't say that last part, but I just, I thought I would add that part to make it sound a little bit cooler. So, pretty much, we will be free. We will make our enemies pay in blood. That's pretty much the gist of her speech. So she's got these people that are there, most of them pretty much brainwashed in a sense that she's good, that, we're going to be free from tyranny, from the elite, even though she's kind of technically the elite, even though she's like, we're good, civilized people, all this bull crap. Even though she's clear as day the villain, and more than likely was probably a part of the elite. We don't know that for sure, but, she's pretty much got France brainwashed. Not all of France, but most of the people that are there at her party. So they end up getting Daryl from his prison, and they take him to the, excuse me, let me just drink this drink real quick. Excuse me. I just had to sip some of that, Skittles berry, is it berry punch? Yeah, okay, those water drinks, the water mixes, for your, the drink mixes for your water. What I'm trying to say, I have the Skittles berry punch. It's pretty good. I would definitely recommend, as far as those drink mixes, I like Skittles the best, but enough of that. This isn't about Skittles. This is about Daryl Dixon. So, okay. So Jeanette and, Jeanette's men go to get Daryl from the prison cell as she's reciting her really long speech. And they take him to the open area where they're all above Daryl. They're pretty much all looking down at him on the ground floor. He's on the ground floor, and they just, take the handcuffs off. Like, obviously this is some sort of trap. They're obviously not going to let him go free just like that. So they leave for a moment, and this guy, he comes back and he brings him a weapon, and you're thinking, okay, why is he bringing him a weapon? And that becomes pretty obvious. Here in a second, he brings him a weapon, hands it to Daryl. Well, he doesn't. Yeah, he hands it to Daryl, I believe, or he drops it near Daryl, and Daryl he picks it up. So they bring a walker in on the other side. He's got these leather straps on him, on the walker, and he's got this Hannibal Lecter face mask going on the walker, and he looks like a pretty normal walker. He's got his mouth covered. They got him back. They got a leather strap around his arms, and then this one guy from up above, he shoots the walker. He injects him with this syringe, and as soon as it hits the walker's neck, it instantly injects into him, and then the walker looks up, and you can see the white veins on his face, the same white veins of a burner, and then not the pupil of the walker's eye, but the white part of his eyes, they turn red, like a dark red, and then they turn black. And he's got the white veins, and he's spazzing out, he's going all crazy and growling. So they shot him with something to make him a variant walker. Is he a variant walker of a burner and a runner combined? Because he's definitely got the white veins like any of the burners have, and then the white part of his eyes turn a dark red and then turn black, and he's a growling and just like he's a spazzing out. So they unhook the leather strap away from his arms, and then they take the mask off, and they let the walker go. And Daryl, he already has the weapon in hand. And the walker runs at Daryl, and damn it, we have a cliffhanger because that's where the episode ends. So there you go. I gotta say, without a shadow of a doubt, this is definitely the best spinoff so far. Now, Rick and Michonne's could be better, maybe. We'll have to see, but without a shadow of a doubt, 5 episodes in, I believe all 5 episodes have been very strong for the Daryl Dixon spinoff. And like I said, maybe episode 2 is kind of weak, but it still isn't bad. But yeah, episode 5 is definitely my favorite episode of this season, without a doubt. And we'll see if the finale can stick the landing. And I have faith it will stick the landing. Now, will it be better than episode 5? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I definitely very much enjoyed it. Oh man, especially that cliffhanger there when the variant burner / runner walker is running at Daryl. Oh, I didn't want the episode to end, but damn it. Like, that was a good cliffhanger. I gotta, hopefully they don't, show, one thing I hope they don't do, hopefully they show Daryl, hopefully they don't show the aftermath of him having already killed the variant. That'll be a little disappointing, I'll admit that, but hopefully they don't, do that. But we'll see. I still have faith in them. I still have faith that they can definitely stick the landing. So far, it's been very great, and If I forgot anything, I do apologize, and that's going to do it, I think. And if you have seen episode 5, what are your thoughts on it? Did you like the episode? Did you think it was just an okay episode, or did you not really like it? I don't see many people saying they didn't like this episode. I would find that would be kind of weird to me, but you never know. But whatever your thoughts are on the episode, just let me know down in the comments. I really love the episode. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. Or if you're new, welcome in for the first time. All of you are very awesome, and I thank you again. And don't forget to hit the bell and switch on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. I am Beak, and I'm gonna go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.